They'll test you. They'll push your buttons. They'll watch your every move, waiting for you to react. But you know what the most powerful move is? Pretend like nothing matters. Because the moment they know it matters to you, they own your power. So you act like a queen. Smile, walk away, and let them burn in your silence. They tell you to express yourself, to speak your mind, to let it all out. But here's the thing they never tell you. Emotion is power. And the most powerful thing you can do is learn to hold it back when it matters the most. When you learn how to feel everything but show nothing, that's not coldness, that's mastery. That's where queens are born. Imagine, you're in a meeting. You've worked your soul into that project. Sleepless nights, caffeine overloads, and heart in every slide. And then someone takes credit. Just like that, your blood boils, your lips tremble, your hands want to rise up and call them out in front of everyone. But you don't. You look them dead in the eye and smile. A smile that says, I see you, but I'm not moved. Because you know something they don't. Your response isn't a reaction, it's a weapon. And you're saving it for when it hits harder. Control is rare, and rare is valuable. Anyone can scream, anyone can cry, but very few can stare betrayal in the face and say nothing. Not because they're weak, but because they're above the drama. You don't rise by reacting, you rise by calculating. And there's a difference. Let's talk relationships. Ever been ghosted? Lied to? Betrayed by someone who said all the right things and then did all the wrong things? Of course you have. We all have. And in that moment when your heart is breaking, when the tears are fighting to pour out, you have a choice. You can send 10 angry texts, call them out online, drag them into the spotlight of your pain, or you can disappear into silence, heal in private, and come back unrecognizable. Because trust me, nothing scares a person more than you not reacting. They expect rage. They want the scene. They want the apology to cost you your dignity. But when you give them nothing, when your energy remains untouched, they're left with the weight of what they did. Alone. You're not a puppet. Your strings are not for public display. Just because someone pulls them doesn't mean you dance. That's what emotional maturity is. Knowing you can destroy someone and choosing not to. Knowing you can cry and choosing to hold it in for the sake of your power. Take an example from daily life. Ever stood in line while someone disrespects a cashier, yells at a waiter, or shows their entitlement in a crowd? That's emotional recklessness. You notice it instantly. You feel disgusted. Why? Because uncontrolled emotion is ugly. It exposes more about you than it does about the other person. Now imagine being the one who remains composed when everything is falling apart. That's elegance under pressure. That's emotional royalty. In friendships too, there are moments when people betray your trust. They gossip. They twist your words. They leave you out. And your first instinct is to confront, to shout, to prove your loyalty. But what if, instead of defending yourself, you simply step back and observe? What if you let the universe do the talking? Your silence will echo louder than any explanation. Because when you refuse to dance in their chaos, you rise above it. You don't owe your vulnerability to the world. Not everyone deserves access to your raw self. Not every moment is worthy of your tears. That doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you choose when and where you feel. That's emotional intelligence. That's strength. Because here's the raw truth. Powerful women don't cry in front of people who hurt them. They cry in silence, wipe their own tears, fix their crown, and walk back into the world like nothing happened. And when the world wonders how she survived what should have broken her, they'll realize she never gave them that satisfaction. She never let them see her fall. Emotion is power. And the most powerful thing you can do, protect it like gold. Spend it wisely. There is a certain magic in silence. A magic that, when mastered, can shape your world in ways words never could. You see, words are easy. Anyone can speak. Anyone can shout. But not everyone can wield silence with the kind of power that makes the world pause. Silence speaks louder than words ever will. It is not the absence of sound, but the presence of strength. Let's picture a situation. You're in a room full of people, and someone says something hurtful, something cruel, aimed directly at you. You feel the sting, the urge to snap back, to make them regret their words. But in that moment, you choose something different. You take a deep breath. You say nothing. You don't flinch. You don't react. That silence speaks volumes. It says, I don't need validation from anyone. It says, I am beyond this pettiness. And the whole room feels it. The thing about silence is that it's often more terrifying to people than an outburst of anger. People expect a reaction. They want it. It feeds their need for attention, for control. But when you withhold that reaction, when you just stare them down with that composed silence, that is power. People are left wondering, why didn't they say anything? What are they thinking? Think about how many times in your life you've been caught up in drama. A fight with a friend, a disagreement with a partner, a clash with a family member. In those moments, the first impulse is to raise your voice, to demand answers, to make your point known. But what if you didn't? What if, instead of throwing your words into the air like daggers, you let your silence be your response? Think of how many situations could have been avoided, how many arguments could have been diffused, how many relationships could have been saved if only you'd chosen silence instead of a word battle. Here's the truth. Silence is never weak. It is not a passive retreat. It is a conscious, deliberate choice. It is a choice to rise above the noise. It is the art of choosing peace over conflict, wisdom over impulsive reactions. When you hold your tongue, you control the narrative. And when you control the narrative, you remain unshaken. The world may try to pull you into its chaos, but if you stay quiet, they will have nothing to grasp onto. Solid. You remain untouchable. Take the example of a relationship gone sour. The words that were exchanged, the hurt, the betrayals, they could tear you apart. It's easy to lash out, to argue, to seek revenge. But imagine the power in choosing to say nothing. To walk away with grace and dignity, leaving your emotions intact, while they stand in their mess of words. That's the kind of strength that makes an impression. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to cry to be understood. All you need is the strength to remain silent, to protect your peace, and to keep walking. Then there are the times when people doubt you, when they question your abilities, your worth. They might talk behind your back, undermine your accomplishments, make you feel small. The temptation is there to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But what if you didn't? What if instead of engaging in their negativity, you simply kept doing your thing? The silence in your actions would speak louder than any word could. They would watch. They would see. And they would know deep down that your silence was the loudest statement you could ever make. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, being able to stand in silence is an act of rebellion. It is a refusal to give in to the noise around you. It is an affirmation of your strength, your resilience, and your understanding that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. When you stop seeking validation through words and start validating yourself through your actions, you enter a realm where your silence becomes the loudest, most impactful thing about you. People will be drawn to your quiet confidence. They will respect you for your ability to hold your peace in a world full of noise. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the presence of unshakable strength. The next time you're tested, the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, your silence is louder than any words you could speak. Detachment is not about not caring. It's about caring in a way that protects your inner peace. It's the ability to walk through life without allowing the world to define your emotions, your worth, or your happiness. It's a superpower because it takes control not of others, but of yourself. In a world where people are constantly trying to control their circumstances, the one who is able to detach is the one who ultimately wins. Think about it for a moment. How often do you find yourself consumed by things you can't control? Whether it's the opinions of others, a failed relationship, or even a missed opportunity, it's easy to get trapped in the emotions of it all. But detachment allows you to take a step back, look at the situation from a distance, and decide how you want to feel. You no longer become a slave to your circumstances. Instead, you become the master of your reaction. Consider the moments when life hits you with its hardest punches. Maybe someone you trusted betrays you, and you feel that wave of anger, pain, and disappointment. Or maybe you've poured your heart into something, a project, a relationship, a dream, and it falls apart despite your best efforts. The natural impulse is to grieve, to react, to spiral into frustration. But detachment teaches you that even in the face of hardship, you don't have to lose yourself. You can feel the emotions, acknowledge them, but you don't have to become consumed by them. Imagine a woman whose relationship has ended. She might feel heartbroken, devastated, and lost. The world tells her to fight, to beg for closure, to drown in her grief. But the woman who has mastered detachment understands something fundamental. Her worth is not tied to another person's love or approval. She understands that while emotions are valid, they are temporary, and in time those feelings will fade and she will rise again. She chooses not to hold on to pain, but to let go. The power in this choice is undeniable. She may hurt, but she doesn't allow it to become her story. In work too, think about a job that's toxic or a boss who doesn't see your potential. It's easy to let the frustration take over, to feel anger at the unfairness, and to let that dictate your energy. But what if instead of allowing the situation to control your mood, you chose to detach from the outcome? You show up, do your best, but refuse to let the approval or disapproval of others determine your self-worth. This isn't apathy. It's empowerment. You are no longer dependent on the opinions of others because you know that your true value doesn't come from external sources. It comes from within. Detachment also frees you from the need for validation. Think about social media. It's easy to get caught up in the cycle of likes, comments, and followers, measuring your worth based on the approval of strangers. But when you detach from that need for validation, you open yourself up to a new kind of freedom. You post because you want to, because it brings you joy, not because you're seeking affirmation. You start to live for yourself, not for the applause of the crowd. Detachment allows you to see life through a lens of independence and self-sufficiency, rather than through the eyes of others. Think about your goals and ambitions. How often do we get frustrated when things don't go as planned? When your dreams feel out of reach, when success seems to be slipping further away, it's easy to feel discouraged and lost. But detachment teaches you that life doesn't have to unfold exactly the way you expect it to for it to be meaningful. You may want success, but you're not attached to it. You may want love, but you don't need it to complete you. When you can detach from the outcome, you are free to enjoy the process. You are free to take every step forward without the burden of expectation, and the universe starts to open up in ways you never imagined. Detachment is not about turning off your emotions. It's about knowing that no external force can determine your inner state. It's about understanding that your peace is yours to protect. In every situation, you hold the power to choose your response. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means freedom. Freedom to live fully, to love deeply, and to rise above the drama. It is the superpower that gives you the ability to stay calm in the storm and to remain grounded when the world is spinning around you. When you learn how to stay unbothered, you become the master of the narrative. You understand that not everything deserves your reaction, and that your energy is far too precious to waste on things or people that don't align with your goals. The real power lies in staying calm and composed, no matter what the world throws your way. This is a superpower that so many fail to understand. It's about choosing not to let external chaos disturb your inner peace. Think about a time when you were in a situation that tried to pull you into drama. Maybe a friend spread rumors about you. Maybe someone you trusted betrayed you. Or perhaps you were unjustly blamed for something at work. The instinctive reaction is to get defensive, to fight back, to react. But when you control the narrative, by staying unbothered, you're saying, I'm not giving my energy to this. You don't let other people's opinions, judgments, or assumptions dictate your emotional state. You rise above. Take the example of a person who has been falsely accused of something they didn't do. It's natural to feel the pressure, the need to correct the wrong, to prove everyone wrong. But the person who understands the power of being unbothered doesn't scramble for answers. Instead, they stay calm, stay focused, and let their actions speak louder than their words. They don't try to force the narrative. They understand that people who are meant to understand will see the truth without needing to shout it from the rooftops. By remaining unbothered, they are silently but powerfully rewriting the story. In our daily lives, there are countless moments when we're tempted to respond in anger or frustration. But each time we choose to stay unbothered, we take control of the narrative. A classic example is dealing with criticism. We all face it, whether it's at work, in relationships, or even on social media. A person who feels insecure will react immediately to every negative comment. They'll try to defend themselves, argue, or explain. But a person who has mastered the art of staying unbothered simply accepts the criticism without letting it define them. They are in control of how they feel, not the person offering the criticism. They choose to take what is useful and discard what doesn't serve them. The beauty of being unbothered is that it's a statement of confidence. When you don't react to people who try to get under your skin, it shows that you don't need their approval. You know who you are, and their words, actions, or attempts at stirring drama don't affect your self-worth. This is especially powerful in relationships, romantic or otherwise. Let's say you're in a situation where someone is trying to provoke you, trying to get a reaction out of you. They might play mind games, manipulate, or pressure you. When you stay unbothered, you take away their power. The game is no longer about their manipulation. It's about your ability to remain steady, grounded, and unwavering. This unshakable calm will often frustrate them, and in the end, they will either give up or start respecting your boundaries. Another example is when you're working towards your goals and people start to doubt you or undermine your efforts. The world loves to question ambition, to poke holes in your plans, and to make you second-guess yourself. But when you choose not to let their negativity disturb you, you begin to take control of the narrative. You stay focused on your vision, your journey, and your growth. You don't need to explain your dreams to anyone. You don't need to prove your worth. You stay unbothered because you know that your path is yours alone. And when you reach the top, when you succeed, you won't need to respond to those who doubted you. Your success will be the final word. Staying unbothered is not about being indifferent or cold. It's about being wise. It's about recognizing that not everything requires a reaction. It's about knowing that your peace and your time are far more valuable than the petty distractions the world offers. You take the high road, and in doing so, you leave others in the dust of their own insecurities and drama. When you choose to stay unbothered, you are not passive or weak. You are powerful beyond measure. You are confident in your ability to navigate life with grace and poise. You are the one writing your own story, and nothing or no one can take that control away from you. Protecting your energy is one of the most powerful and necessary acts of self-love you can practice in a world that constantly demands more from you. In the hustle of everyday life, it's easy to forget how precious your mental and emotional energy truly is. We allow other people's negativity, toxic environments, and unnecessary drama to drain us, and before we know it, we're running on empty, unable to give ourselves the care and attention we deserve. Protecting your energy is like treating it as the most precious resource you have, because it truly is. Think about it. Energy is the driving force behind everything you do. When you're at your best, mentally clear, emotionally stable, and physically strong, you become a magnet for the life you want to attract. You're able to give freely without burning out, and you can be present for others without losing yourself in the process. But when you let your energy be drained by negativity, whether it's from toxic relationships, a draining job, or negative self-talk, you lose the power to create the life you deserve. You become a shell of yourself, reacting to the world instead of taking charge of it. Let's take a look at a common scenario: dealing with toxic people. Have you ever been in a situation where someone constantly drains your energy with their negativity? Maybe it's a friend who always complains about their life, but never takes any action to change it. Or a colleague who brings bad energy to the office. These people may not even realize it, but every time you engage with them, they are sapping your vitality, leaving you feeling exhausted, and frustrated. It's important to recognize this pattern and take action. You don't have to cut people out of your life completely, but you do need to set boundaries. Choose when and how to engage with them. You are not obligated to give them all your time or attention, especially if they don't add value to your life. Protect your energy by choosing who gets access to your peace and who doesn't. Another powerful example is in the work environment. Many people find themselves in jobs or careers that drain their energy, not because of the work itself, but because of the toxic atmosphere, demanding bosses, or negative co-workers. When you're constantly in an environment that undermines your well-being, it takes a toll on your spirit. It doesn't matter how talented or driven you are, if your energy is constantly being depleted by outside forces, it's almost impossible to thrive. You have to create space for yourself, even in the midst of chaos. Learn to prioritize your mental health, set clear boundaries with your time, and be unapologetic about your needs. Think about a woman who's in an unhealthy relationship. She loves deeply, she gives freely, but she feels drained because the relationship is emotionally one-sided. She sacrifices her time, her peace, her joy, all in the name of love. But the truth is, love isn't supposed to feel exhausting. The right relationship should lift you up, not drain your soul. When you protect your energy, you begin to realize that true love isn't about giving everything you have until there's nothing left. It's about mutual respect, trust, and support. By protecting your energy, you learn to set boundaries, to demand respect, and to value your own worth. Self-talk is another critical part of protecting your energy. How often do you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts about your abilities, your worth, or your future? Your thoughts shape your reality. When you feed yourself with constant doubt, criticism, or negativity, you block your own potential. Protecting your energy means refusing to entertain those thoughts. When you catch yourself spiraling, shift the narrative. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, try thinking, I'm capable of overcoming challenges. I will find a way. Each time you do this, you protect your energy and redirect it into something positive and productive. Taking care of your body is also part of the equation. Your physical energy is connected to your emotional and mental energy. When you nourish your body with healthy food, regular exercise, and enough rest, you build a strong foundation for mental clarity and emotional resilience. It's not just about what you eat. It's about the habits you build that allow you to maintain a high level of energy and vitality. By taking care of yourself, you're saying to the world, I am worthy of feeling good. You're protecting your energy from being depleted by stress or unhealthy habits, and instead, you're fueling yourself for success. The ultimate key to protecting your energy is understanding that it's a sacred resource. Every moment you spend with someone, every task you take on, every thought you entertain, either adds or takes away from your energy reserves. The more you become aware of how your energy is being affected, the better equipped you'll be to protect it. It's not about being selfish. It's about recognizing that your well-being is paramount. When you protect your energy, you show up as your best self, ready to tackle challenges, embrace opportunities, and attract what you truly deserve in life. Protecting your energy is the first step to building the life of your dreams. There's something undeniably magnetic about someone who moves in mystery and shines in silence. It's a rare power, one that cannot be replicated by loud words or showy gestures. The people who embody this energy are not trying to prove anything. They simply exist. And in their stillness, they become forces that command attention and respect. Moving in mystery means you understand the power of keeping some things to yourself, letting your actions speak louder than your words. It's about recognizing that not everything needs to be shared, not every thought needs to be vocalized, and not every step needs to be announced to the world. Consider a person who has